Okay, we are going to be duplicating this worksheet into our sketchbooks. So I'm going to demonstrate how you're going to do that for this assignment. So start off with one of your drawing pencils. It doesn't really matter which one you use. And I want you to just make a line across the top of your page, and I want you to write dark, and I want you to write light on that line. We'll find out more about that in a minute, okay? Then I want you to make 5 rectangles down our page, starting right under that line. So we're gonna do 1 rectangle, 2 rectangles, 3 rectangles, 4, and 5. Okay, in our first rectangle, we're going to divide this into 5 sections. So to divide something, we're going to use, divide something in 5, we're going to use 4 lines. So I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. And I'm going to write above them, I'm going to write black, dark, light, lighter, and then white. Okay, and then these last 4, I'm going to divide those into 3 sections each. So that means I only need to draw 2 lines. So I'm going to spread those lines out a little bit more. So then we're going to put those 2 lines in all the way down on these last 4. And you don't need to write in anything, just know that we're going to go from dark to light. So we're going to go from dark this way, and then this will be the light over here, okay? So let's get started with our, so that's just duplicating that worksheet. So let's get started with the very top up here. So you're gonna start with your drawing pencils, and your drawing pencils, you may have a different variety than what I have, but we're gonna start in the middle of this line with what is your middle pencil. Your middle pencil should be something like an H, an HB, or a B. So I have all 3 of those. So my actual middle is going to be HB. So I'm going to write that right here. I'm going to make an HB, oops, on my line. And then above that, I'm going to just use my HB pencil, and I'm going to just color a little bit. I actually wanted to write that down a little lower so I don't draw over the top of it. There we go. I'm going to just color over the top of it and see how that HB pencil writes. Okay. So then if you don't have an HB, if you have just an H and a B, your H is going to go toward the light side. Your B is going to go toward the dark side. So I'm going to put the H right here on the line, and then I'm going to color with my H pencil above that. And you're going to be able to feel the difference already when you use the H versus the HB, because the lead is harder in an H pencil. And so it's a little harder to even rub it on the page. The B is going to go toward the darker side. So I'm going to put the B over here, and I'm going to color in a little bit with my B pencil above that. And you'll be able to, again, feel the difference, because this has a softer lead that's going to make a darker mark. Okay? Now, again, your pencils may look different than mine. So some of you, or most of you, should have a 2H and a 2B. So once again, the 2H is going to go toward the light side. And we're going to, again, try that out and see how it works when we color with it. And you're going to be able to tell the difference as far as pressure goes. And then the 2B will go toward the dark side, and you'll press that in as well. Now, some of you may have some darker pencils. Most of the time in your drawing set, you're going to have only probably the H and the 2H. Some of you might have a 3H or a 4H, but so if you do, you can add that on. But most of you are going to have at least one more darker than 2B, and that could be 4B, it could be 6B, but you can just, and so if you have those, you're going to write those down, and you're going to just see how that works on your paper, how those pencils make a darker mark on your paper, okay? So we're going to utilize those pencils now for our worksheet. So we are going to start in this first one. We're going to use what's called smooth shading. So I'm going to write that on top so I know what this one is. We're going to use smooth shading, and we're going to go from the blackest black to white. So this last one we're going to leave alone. We're not even going to color it in. So what I want you to use is your drawing pencils. Instead of pressure, I want you to use your drawing pencil. So if your darkest is 6B, use that. If your darkest is 4B, use that. I'm going to use my 4B just because I think that's probably the darkest one that most of you have. If you have a 6B, use your 6B. Okay, and you're gonna just color in with normal pressure. You don't need to like push hard. You just need to try to use a normal pressure. In fact, I've pulled my fingers away from the point of my pencil to color this in so that I get kind of a normal pressure and I can see how the pencil works. I wanna see what the pencil feels like, what the pencil does for me, okay? And it should get pretty dark when you just use normal pressure and color that in smoothly. Smooth shading means it's colored in nice and smooth and you don't see any of those lines like we did with cross hatching or hatching. Okay, now I'm gonna go down my pencils. Now I have 2 more to go, and my last one would probably want to be my 2H. If you don't have a 2H, it could be your H. So you have some range here. So I think for my dark, I'm gonna go ahead and go down to my 2B. Oops, I just threw my pencil. There we go. And again, same pressure. I'm not changing my pressure, but I changed my pencil. And so now you can see still a nice dark line, but not nearly as dark as what I got with my 4B pencil because the lead is a little harder in the 2B versus the 4B. Okay, so still dark, it's dark, but not as dark. All right, now I'm gonna move down. I think I'll try my middle pencil. If you don't have a middle pencil, you might wanna try using either your B or your H. I'm gonna use my HB to get my light one. And again, same pressure that I used before. It's just gonna look a little lighter. Okay? And then last but not least, you're leaving this one white, so use your lightest one. My lightest one is the 2H. If your lightest one is an H, use that instead. But you're gonna just color that last one in with your lightest, whatever your lightest pencil is. Mine was the 2H. Okay, so you should see, and I'm not seeing it, so I might go back with my B again. I mean, 2H again. You should see a difference in those pencils just by changing your pencils, okay? So then the next section, we're going to do the same types of lines we did when we were just using lines to create value, but this time we're gonna use our pencils as well. So the first one we're gonna do is called hatching. The second one we're gonna do is called cross hatching. The third one we're gonna do is called squiggle. And then the last one is new. So these 3 we did in our last video. This one is new. It is called pointillism, or some people call it stippling. And I'll get to that one in a minute and show you how to do that. So what you're gonna do for this is gonna be your darkest box. So you're gonna use one of your darker pencils and you're going to use hatching like we did before. So hatching means we're gonna go at a diagonal or up and down. It doesn't matter, just keep your lines going the same way. And you're gonna use your darkest pencil and you're going to just add in those hatching lines, okay? So we're gonna just use our darkest pencil, same pressure, add in those hatching lines, okay? Then I'm gonna go down to a medium pencil. So now I'm at the medium point. I've got my B pencil. I'm gonna do the same thing. Keep those lines kind of in the same position, but I've just changed my pencil. And then I'm gonna go for the last one, I'm gonna go with my lightest pencil. And again, same number of lines, just using my lightest pencil. So you can see the difference in those. All right, then we're gonna go to cross-hatching, do the same thing. We're gonna utilize our pencils. So we're gonna go with our lines going one direction. I like to go diagonal, one direction, and then cross them like an X, going in a different direction. So we're gonna come through here like this. And again, I'm using my darkest pencil for that. Then I'm gonna go down to a medium pencil. And I'm gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go across this way. I think I went a little different direction to start with. That's okay, it doesn't really matter, as long as you're crossing them. And then we're gonna go in this direction to cross. Try to keep the same distance. And then again, my lightest one, I'm gonna come here, keep the pencil, keep the lines same distance. And then we're gonna go the opposite direction with our lightest pencil. Come see the difference the pencils make for you on the paper, okay? All right, now we're gonna do squiggle. We did squiggle before. So squiggle means you're gonna just take your pencil and you're gonna just take and make some like lines of spaghetti that all connect together and fill in the space. I'm using my darkest pencil now and making them overlap and kind of come together. Okay, and then again, I will move to the medium pencil. Filling in that space. Overlapping a little bit. And then last but not least, I'll pick my lightest pencil, do the same thing, fill in the space with a little bit of overlapping. And you can definitely feel, I don't know if you can 100% see it from my medium to my light, but you can definitely feel the difference between the lead and the medium pencil versus the lead and the light pencil. All right, and then last but not least, on this last one, it's called pointillism. Pointillism is, it is a challenge. I'm just gonna tell you that. It is a challenge, but it is a really great way to add value, especially when we're doing this new Zentangle project that we're getting ready to start. So what you're gonna do is just take your pencil and you're gonna just make little tiny dots. Now, for my purposes, that's a big chunk of space that you're gonna have to fill in with dots. So for my purposes, for my class, I would like for you to try to create a value scale with each of your pencils. So I'm on my darkest pencil right now. So now I'm gonna make those pointillism dots and across the, I'm gonna try to make it as dark as I can get it by getting them as close as I can get them over here on this side. And then I'm gonna slowly start opening up the dots so that there's not quite so many crammed together, and start making it turn a little lighter simply by changing how close the dots are together. Okay, and I'm gonna do that across there so that they get a little lighter and over to the other side. Okay, and then again, you would do the same thing with your medium pencil. You're gonna do those dots as close as you can, get them together over here with your medium pencil, and then slowly start letting the pencil or the dots spread apart a little bit more as they go across the page and open up into a value scale with these dots. And it's simply because there are a lot of dots, and I want you to learn how to shade with the pencils and what the pencils can do for you. And so you really do need to see that by using different pencils, you get a darker line, but also by spreading out these dots, you would get a lighter or a darker, or spreading out or putting the dots together, you get a lighter or a darker line. Okay? And then on the last one, again, these are not finished, but I'm gonna go ahead and move on. On the last one, I'd use my lightest pencil. It's gonna make a super tiny dot, which is good for some things. Maybe a little challenging when you're trying to cover in this entire space. you're going to put in with your lightest pencil and do the same thing across. Okay, so these are not finished, but I'm going to go ahead and stop and let you work on that for today.